Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. It means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Wrapping up the work week. Glad you're hanging out with us. Got Jordan Kitchens and Braxton Rizzuto back there on the ones and twos. Replaced a Spazzali with the Rizzuto. Just a lot of vowels going on in that visitor chair. Glad he's here. Glad you are as well. We're wrapping up the week. It's a quiet building here at Guarantee. Christmas party last night. Office allowed not to come in today, but we're doing shows and glad to be here. We got the college football playoff. We will certainly talk about that. I want to talk to Preston Guy in 15 minutes on Tiger football. Wilson Alexander covers the LSU Tigers for The Advocate and had a nice piece in The Advocate online today that is talking about his sit down with Blake Baker and the conversation that they had centered around preparing and coaching against Lane Kiffin. And thought it was very interesting. So we'll talk to Wilson at the bottom of hour number 2. Got to get you ready for the NFL weekend. I got a pick for Saints and Jets coming up at the end of this hour. LSU hoops tonight in the PMAC against Southeastern, their first home game in a month. I'll be there with the Myers man. Looking forward to that. So we'll talk about that briefly. So tons and tons to do here on this Friday. Let's crank it up the way we start every single day. That's with our favorite Chevrolet GMC opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So the news of the day is not all that significant to the listener. It's that A.J. Halsey is headed to the Senior Bowl. And that's great for A.J. Halsey, but not necessarily massively significant. Not something I'm going to spend 15 minutes talking about. But it got me thinking this morning about LSU's transfer class. And we know that LSU got very aggressive in the transfer portal for the 2025 season. And we also know that that created a lot of expectation, and ultimately the season was deemed a failure. The coach was fired. And I would think, just if you're trying to connect dots without any real context, you would go, okay, well, you spent a bunch of money on transfers, and the end result was a failure. Clearly, that wasn't a very good investment, was it? And so I just kind of wanted to go back and look at the entirety of the transfer portal class and say whether or not I thought that was a huge reason why their lack of punch, production, impact was a big reason why LSU failed to reach its goals this year. And my conclusion was they did a pretty good job in the portal. like listen to the names they got out of the transfer portal. A.J. Halsey, I'm going through this on Rivals, so this is the order they've got him in, and I'll just do it that way. A.J. Halsey, they brought in from the portal. I think everyone would suggest he had a great season. He was all conference. He's going to the Senior Bowl. He led LSU in tackles with 88 tackles. That's a good ad. They got Bernard Gooden. Now, his impact was probably about what we thought it was going to be in July. Then August came, and we're not making stuff up when we go out to practice. They could not block him. And I started thinking, this guy with Kyle Williams, it's his style. Like, this guy could be a problem for SEC teams. And Bernard Gooden was okay this year. He had 22 tackles. He had 4 tackles for loss. He had a pair of sacks. He did get hurt and miss a little bit of time. He wasn't the monster we thought he was going to be in August, but he was a nice player, a defensive tackle for you. You certainly would have liked to have had him in the middle of your defensive line for the Vanderbilt game when you didn't have him and you couldn't stop them. So he was a good ad. Tamarcus Cooley. Tamarcus Cooley was a starter for you at safety. He was a versatile player. He finished 4th on the team in tackles with 60. He had 2 interceptions, broke up 2 passes. Was he an all-conference player? No. Was he a starter and a good player? Yeah. You brought in Donovan Green, and he was a reserve tight end. I don't think you... The one thing that would contextualize this, when a professional team goes and signs free agents, we know what you paid for them and what your roster expense is, so we know what the impact should or shouldn't be. I don't know what they paid for Donovan Green. It probably wasn't a lot. He came in as a 3rd tight end. Fine. Josh Thompson was a starter for you. Was he great? No. Was he the weak link of your offensive line? No. I thought he was a reasonable player. And he wasn't a 5-star recruit. He wasn't a first-team All-Big Ten player. You asked him to come in and start at right guard. He came in, he started at right guard. Patrick Payton's a little bit complicated, it is, because Patrick Payton is a guy who had essentially the exact same career Barkevious Mingo had at LSU at Florida State. Different eras, different conferences, but same skill set and same production. He was a big sack guy at Florida State. He came in this year and had 1 sack. He was my guy that I thought was going to be a big-time ad for LSU that could be a closer late in games. 6'6", long arms, tons of sacks in the ACC, started on an undefeated Florida State team. I thought this guy would be a difference maker. I think he probably underachieved a little bit. Braylon Moore, you brought him in to be your center. He was the best offensive lineman you had. Bad offensive line. He was the best offensive lineman you had. I think he did a good job. Sydir Mitchell, that one didn't work. That's a guy that Bo Davis identified, brought him in, then left for the Saints, came in, never played for you. That's a miss. Grant Chadwick came in, did a great job punting. You were awful. You're the worst punting team in the SEC last year. The worst. And Grant Chadwick came in and was significantly better than that. He finished the season with a punting average of 46 yards per punt. He kicked 21 50-plus yard punts. Some of them were a little bit out kicking the coverage. Some of them were a little bit low. But Grant Chadwick did a good job. That was a good ad. Now you get into a couple wide receivers, Nick Anderson and Destin Hill. I think you thought Nick Anderson, I thought Nick Anderson would be a great player at LSU. I thought he would be a big-time deep threat, a red zone matchup problem, the physical presence at wide receiver amongst a lot of fast guys, amongst the Chris Hiltons, the Barryon Browns, the Aaron Andersons, the Kyle Parkers, the smaller guys who were fast and shifty. Nick Anderson was going to be the big 6'4" guy. And Nick Anderson did not have a big impact on this team for the season. Nick Anderson had, let me find this on here. He's not even, there he is. He had 12 catches for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of the touchdowns was a tipped ball that he snared out of the air in Oxford. Just that one didn't necessarily work out. And I don't know that Destin Hill, who hadn't played really at all in 3 years at Florida State, was supposed to be a huge ad. But with Anderson, that was a little bit underwhelming. You got Mansour Delane. He was a superstar. One of the best cover corners literally that's ever played at LSU. One of 13 unanimous All-Americans in the history of the program. Incredible ad. Jack Pyburn had a pretty good year. Jack Pyburn had a pretty good year. I did not realize until I looked at the stat sheet that Jack Pyburn led LSU, was second at LSU in tackles for loss this year behind, the 2 linebackers, Weeks and Perkins. He led your defensive front in TFLs with 5.5. He had 2 sacks. I thought he might have a little bit more pass rush ability than he did. He didn't show that at Florida, but it's why he came here. And I thought that working with Kevin Peoples, who really unlocked LSU's defensive ends last year with Savion Jones, who had been kind of a non-factor for 3 years, that elevated himself to a 3rd-round pick. And then, of course, you saw the transformation that you saw on the other end. Now I'm blanking completely on his name. Braden Swinson just completely left my brain. He did a phenomenal job with Braden Swinson, became a really good pass rusher. I thought Pyburn would be pretty good, but 5.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks as a starter on your defensive end, did a decent job. You brought in Michael Van Buren to be your backup quarterback, fine. Jamari Butler came in and was a steady presence on defensive end. He finished with 4 tackles for loss. He had a pair of sacks and was a rotational player at a deep spot for you at defensive end. And then the other 2 are Jakeem Jackson, who was a little used player, and Bauer Sharp, who was your tight end, who was behind Trey'Dez Green as a pass-catching option. And look, he finished the season receiving. He was 4th on the team, 24 catches for 252 yards and 2 touchdowns. Fine. But, as I go through, there weren't a lot of busts there. You didn't get anything out of Sydir Mitchell. You didn't get as much out of Nick Anderson as you thought. And I thought maybe Patrick Payton, but these are a lot of starters. How many starters? A.J. Halsey, Bernard Gooden, DeMarcus Cooley, Josh Thompson, Patrick Payton, Braylon Moore, Mansour Delane, Jack Pyburn, Jamari Butler, Barryon Brown. That's you're talking about 10, 11 starters there, and I'm not counting the punter. The transfer portal class wasn't really the problem. It was the offense and really the quarterback play due to injury and I think poor scheme, and then the offensive line. And so this big investment that LSU made in the transfer portal class, I think did pay off. What you didn't have, and what you probably should have reallocated funds to, if you could drop maybe one of those wide receivers that you spent big money on and could have gotten a right tackle. That's what you needed. Could have gotten probably a left tackle and maybe kicked your starting left tackle inside to guard. I think that maybe you got Braylon Moore and Josh Thompson who started. You didn't have a tackle to step up. Weston Davis didn't work out. Carius Kern wasn't ready. Then Tyree Adams got hurt, and tackle was a problem. Of course, Nussmeier's injury. But it would stand to reason with no context, like I said at the beginning, that if you looked at LSU and you went, well, they spent all this money on these transfers. Well, that didn't work. Well, it actually did work. And it furthers the point that it is where you need to focus year to year. I want to bring in elite level Louisiana and national players. I want DJ Pickett's on the team. I want Whit Weeks on the team. I want Harlem Berry on the team. I want Will Campbell and Lance Hurd on the team. I want guys that come in and play for 3 years and become stars. Like, that is a big-time piece to a championship puzzle. But you do have to focus on the transfer portal. And the results that LSU got this year certainly cannot detract from that strategy, because these were some of the best players on the team. It was not their fault that LSU grossly underachieved. It was an injured quarterback, a poor offensive scheme, and an offensive line that didn't step forward. And they probably missed on, like, if they could have put Will Campbell and Emory Jones on this team as seniors, I think it looks different. I think that you have a better chance to finish off the game against Vanderbilt, to finish off the game against Ole Miss. I think that's the issue. Is it was position specific, not idea specific. The idea to go get a bunch of these dudes at the top end of the transfer portal and spend a bunch of money, I think worked. LSU wasn't equipped in-house prior to getting them to get things right on the offensive staff and on the offensive line. That's my opinion on why this thing didn't work. It wasn't the idea was bad. And we know that because Lane Kiffin has come in and you've only signed 15 guys in this high school class, like, they're going to be heavy in the portal again. You need to make sure you address the positions properly. And that's why Billy Glasscock is here. That's why Lane Kiffin is here. And the beauty of it is these guys don't have to prepare for a bowl game. Like, they have no focus on Houston. None. You probably don't either listening, but they certainly don't. It's all about, okay, what do we have here? What works? What do we have coming back that we can build around? And then what do we need to address? And you've got to address your needs properly. It's the free agency period. You've got to do the right thing in free agency and make sure that you don't have glaring holes. That's the plan. So that was something I thought of today when I saw that A.J. Halsey was going to the Senior Bowl. It's like, let's just look at the transfer class. Like, did it work? I would argue it did work. You didn't have the support system to make it a success as a team. The idea was right. That's our opening drive. Of course, presented by Fabry, GMC, and Chevrolet. We'll come back with Preston Guy from Tiger Bait next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. They want to wish you a Merry Christmas at First American Bank and Trust. You don't have to go far to stop in one of their branch locations. There are 25 of them in Southeast Louisiana. They started in 1910, still here 115 years later, about to be 116 years later. Whether you're in Baton Rouge, Dutchtown, Jones Creek, down in Lafourche Parish or Terrebonne, even up in I-12, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, Hammond, they've got branches around you. I told you a couple weeks ago we were going to pick up Myers at the airport down there in New Orleans. We stopped in Metairie for lunch, looked at my street corner, right there, First American Bank and Trust. They're part of the fabric of our community. They've got all the resources you need in a bank. That's because they got 25 locations. But the people that work in these banks, walk the streets with you, the people that make decisions at First American Bank and Trust are right here in your community, and they're not going anywhere. When you make a phone call to First American Bank and Trust, you talk to somebody that's here in Southeast Louisiana. When the decision is made on your commercial loan, your approval for a loan for your home, it's made right here in Southeast Louisiana. It's First American Bank and Trust. That's First American Bank and Trust.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana propane dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Stop on by, grab you a big old shrimp po' boy. They're on Government between Foster and Jefferson. You can find the whole menu online at corksfishandshrimp.com, corksfishandshrimp.com. Preston Guy, tigerbait.com, with us on Fridays talking football. Preston, how are you, sir?
Fine, how's it going?
Going quite well. I just talked about LSU's transfer portal class and kind of went through it, and they did a pretty good job in the portal. My suggestion was they probably should have gone and gotten a tackle. That's probably where they missed. Maybe one too many wide receivers. But when you kind of contextualize what this portal class produced without knowing exactly what it costs, like, how do you feel they did? And to what degree do you blame LSU's lack of success on lack of hits in the portal?
I mean, I think they made some structural miscalculations in the portal. They certainly rebuilt that defense in a big way in the portal. I mean, this is the thing we cannot miss is the 2024 defense did not have the talent level to compete at the level that they competed this year. So I really do think that they had a defense that was good enough to win the championship. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good for the most part all year. It really gave them a chance to win every game except for Texas A&M. The problem is your offense. I mean, obviously, there's a few guys that you misevaluated on or whatever. I think that there's also a lot of guys like Barryon Brown. Was he a guy who just wasn't very good, or is that simply your offense just wasn't able to put it together because, well, Nussmeier was hurt all season, and you had no offensive line to protect whomever was there? You know, it's like you just missed on so many pieces. I think, in retrospect, you say a offensive tackle, man, this was possible. I mean, I can't remember a worse offensive line in school history. They clearly should have invested more resources in that offensive line. I think they thought, they brought in, the two interior guys. Who was it? Josh Thompson and the Braylon Moore. And they thought they would be, good to go, right? Well, Braylon Moore was a hit, but really, none of the other guys were good enough all season. This was a putrid performance where, guys like Aaron Anderson and your running back, Harlem Berry, were showing flashes, but they never got an opportunity to perform because right up front you were getting beat down all year. So they definitely should have gone in different places. But I think most of this season's failure was ultimately reflective of the coaching staff itself. I think that this 85-man unit was enough to win 10 games this year, particularly if you had been able to keep Nussmeier healthy. I think you're definitely there, but you weren't able to get that done. You should have invested in a backup quarterback who was more capable and ready than Michael Van Buren, but I know those are slim pickings and hard to find. At first we thought, based on his film from Mississippi State, he would be just that, but turns out the reality of that is, well, basically as soon as he got into fall camp, he was not that.
As you start to look in the transfer portal at quarterbacks that have jumped in, do any jump out to you?
Yeah, and a few that haven't actually yet also stand out to me. I like Raiola. That's an interesting guy. A guy from Cincinnati is a guy to watch out. Sorsby, he would fit Lane Kiffin's system. And then I talk about guys who haven't entered the portal yet. Of course, everybody's going to be looking at Trinidad Shameless at Ole Miss. That would be perfect because he's a plug-and-play guy ready to go now, and he's not a guy who's going to scare a younger player from transferring in. I mean, Hunt, if Michael Van Buren doesn't stay, which it seems to me like, if he's currently the starter and then they bring in a guy to start over him, it's very likely he won't stick around, and it's a new coaching change. So that's no way close to a certain thing. And then you have to wonder how much NIL resources are they going to commit to a guy like Michael Van Buren after what we've seen this year. They're going to need 3 quarterbacks in the portal, minimum, because you don't have a quarterback at all right now. That is one of the reasons why Joe Sloan and Brian Kelly are no longer employed because, or at least employed by LSU, I should say, because they didn't bring in quarterbacks, right? So looking at some young guys, you have to wonder, and this thing could be a stretch here, but, Michigan's got its coaching, turmoil going on. Bryce Underwood's a young, talented prospect, but he may be in a position, obviously, that's a lot of NIL money he would have to walk away from that's guaranteed. There's also no buyout for that NIL money. So, yes, there's a lot of quarterback names we're going to be looking at. They're probably going to bring in at least one of the names we are looking at and probably multiple of the names we aren't looking at.
It's going to be fascinating to see how they maneuver bringing in as many quarterbacks as they have to when you can only start one of them. That's going to be very, very interesting to see how Lane Kiffin handles that. And I guess the answer is probably money, and that's something that we can't speak to exactly, which is difficult. You can speak to how much you're paying a relief pitcher in the big leagues because they report it. We don't know what these guys make, so we'll see how that all shakes out. What do you think about the next 5 years of the LSU Ole Miss series?
Man, Ole Miss has their Saban. I mean, it really is, though. I mean, you think about it, like, that's a heated rivalry to begin with, but now they have their man that they're going to hate, the guy who took them to the equivalent of their promised land because, let's be honest, in Ole Miss history, 11-1 in a playoff appearance, that's the best they've ever done, right? They've never been to an SEC championship. They've never done it, but they're hosting a home playoff game. So their guy who elevated them to their equivalent of the promised land is now across, across the state border and playing for one of their rivals, and they're going to have to play each other every single year, just like LSU did with Saban. So I think we're going to see September 19th. That rivalry is going to be just a whole new level. And unlike Saban, there's no, 4-year buffer in between him coming back. Because, Saban didn't come back to Tiger Stadium until 2008.
Right.
No. Third game of Kiffin's career, he's going to Oxford. That's going to be in a visceral atmosphere. So, yes, it's heated up. Not to mention, Ole Miss themselves with their NIL positioning, they've put themselves where their program is going to be in a position where they can attract top talent now. Maybe not at the level LSU does, but they certainly have their NIL collective built, ready to roll, and they've got Austin Thomas there now who's, he was there before, and, he built that 2024 Ole Miss offense that featured all those, first-round guys. I think that's a rivalry to keep an eye out. I think that Ole Miss LSU is going to have a whole new level of heated and hatred in it.
What's your concern level if you're LSU about a Ole Miss coaching staff that has a Hammond native as the head coach who's recruited the state, Frank Wilson who has recruited the state, and then of course Austin Thomas who's been in the state multiple times? What's your concern level about them coming into Louisiana?
Yeah, I mean certainly they're going to be a good recruiting position. Am I as concerned about that as I am about the $25 million in NIL funds that they have? No, but ultimately, yes, they're going to have ties to Louisiana. But go look back at Frank Wilson's guys he grabbed out of Louisiana while he was at Ole Miss in his previous stint. He wasn't out there snagging Leonard Fournette, right? Guys like Leonard Fournette, Darius Guice, the top, Richard Anderson, Lamar Brown, they're not coming to LSU because of some guy with New Orleans connections, historically speaking. It doesn't matter who's at the helm in LSU, right? Since Saban came in and built that wall, right? I look at his Gennardo kind of laid the foundation and Saban built the wall, right? Everybody has been – these guys are coming for LSU, not for some recruiter with a connection or whatever. I mean, sure, those connections help. You might get a guy or two, and I'm sure Frank and company will pluck a guy or two that LSU wants. But ultimately, the fact that these guys are willing and wanting to stay home, LSU is a more rich history program, hometown team, and a lot of these guys are – I know for a fact there's plenty of talented players on this roster from Louisiana who've taken big discounts to stay home. I think LSU should do fine. That being said, don't be surprised if you see a top 15 guy or two head to Ole Miss once a year or so,
I think that's probably all very well said, and we'll see kind of how it plays out over the next 3 or 4 years between LSU and Ole Miss. Do you think there's a road playoff winner this weekend, or do you think the 4 home teams win them all?
All right, hold up. Let me think here. It's so Tulane actually probably has a good chance, even though they got blown out. But you got Tulane versus no lane, right?
Yep.
So anytime you're playing a team who literally has a new head coach, that's something to watch. Alabama at Oklahoma, that's interesting because it's hard to beat a good team twice in 1 year. And frankly, we've seen Oklahoma's offense. It's not something, at least since the Mateer initial injury, hasn't been explosive or anything special to watch. So that game very possibly could help me out. Other road.
Yeah, Miami's at A&M.
Miami's at A&M. No, I don't see that one happening. So that I would say you could see 2 this weekend, but
I'm guessing you don't like
probably Bama.
Yeah, I'm guessing you don't like James Madison at Oregon.
No, dude. No, I would put $1 million on Oregon. That one will not be close.
I don't think it's going to be close in Oxford either. I think Tulane's terrible, but that's just my opinion from my elite SEC tower, looking at the little old American, as I generally do. Preston, we appreciate the time. Hope your family has a great Christmas, and we'll talk down the road.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, with us on Fridays talking football. I'm going to break down these college football playoff games at the top of hour number 2 o'clock. I've got picks against the spread for all of them, which, of course, I hit those at just an alarmingly high rate. I think I was somewhere in the 40% rate for SEC picks all year. But I'll give you thoughts. I did some research this morning. I'll give it a look. We'll give it a try. Also want to talk a little bit briefly about LSU basketball tonight. Saints and Jets pick coming up in about 15 minutes. When we come back, we'll get you set up for the NFL weekend. It's a huge one in the National Football League. We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you're thinking, I've heard that name, but I don't know about Chevrolet GMC. That makes sense. The Fabrys have been in business in Baton Rouge for 35 years, 3 locations, 5 brands that they will sell, and they just recently became the new owners in St. Francisville on Highway 61 of Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They've got a huge inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles. You can see it all online at FabryChevrolet.com. If you'd like to start your process there, you can, but they'd love it if you make the short drive up to St. Francisville and check it out. If you're looking for a Tahoe, they got them. You're looking for a Silverado, need a truck, they got those. Also on the GM side, the C side, they've got Sierras, they've got Yukons, they've got Denali's. Those are all big sellers, and they've got them on the lot up there in St. Francisville. When you shop with Fabry, you know you're going to get unbelievable customer service. You are. And if you're looking for service on your vehicle before you hit the road for that family trip for Christmas, stop on by. It doesn't have to be a GMC or a Chevrolet. They service all makes in the service department there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Check out that entire inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Pleasant Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
In 1 hour, we'll talk to Wilson Alexander from The Advocate. I thought he did a great job with a piece he just put up on The Advocate's website earlier today. He talked to Blake Baker, and he talked to Blake Baker about preparing for Lane Kiffin, coaching against Lane Kiffin. I thought it was very enlightening, and excited to chat with Wilson about that an hour from now. We'll do that at 2:30. We'll also talk some Saints and Jets coming up in about 10 minutes. I've got a pick for that game. Candidly, if I was putting Saints Jets in my tier list this week, I think it probably goes tier 4. I just don't know how excited you are to watch Brady Cook play football, but gives the black and gold a good chance to win the game. So we'll talk about that in 10 minutes. But it is a monster week in the National Football League. Let's get to it. Tier 4, I've only got one game that's just unwatchable to me, and it's for a couple of reasons. It's Chiefs at Titans. Both teams are out of the playoffs. Mahomes is hurt. I'm not tuning in to watch Gardner Minshew play quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Titans have a 19.1% chance at the top pick in the draft. That's about all the intrigue I can find in this one. I got nothing. That's why it's tier 4, but that's the only one. Tier 3's got a lot, though. Not great football, some better than others. The Eagles are at Washington. Philadelphia is playing some good defense right now. They held Las Vegas to 75 total yards last week. If Philadelphia wins, they clinch the NFC East. How about this? It would be the first repeat NFC East winner in 20 years. That's a crazy stat. The NFL in parity it just blows your mind, and it also This shows how incredible the New England Patriots were for a very long time to win their division every year. The Bengals are at the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers for Miami. Tua will sit on the bench. The Bengals 0-3 against the spread against sub-500 teams this year. Certainly that applies with the Dolphins here, and they got a backup quarterback. Maybe bet the Dolphins with Quinn Ewers. That probably won't be a very fun Sunday for you if you do that. Bills are at the Browns. Josh Allen 1 touchdown away from the youngest and fastest ever to 300 touchdown passes. Also, potential record could be set on Sunday. Myles Garrett 1.5 sacks away from breaking the all-time single-season sack record. He will get that record. Just a matter of can he get there in 16 games. Needs to do it over the next 2 to make that happen. It's Bills at Browns on Sunday. The Vikings are at the Giants. Both teams been eliminated from the playoffs. The Giants have not won a game since week 6. That is not good. However, if you want to bet this game, overs are 8-1 in the last 9 Giants game. 8-1. They're scoring some points. They're giving up a lot of points. Take the over if you'd like to do that. J.J. McCarthy and Jackson Dart in that one. Falcons are at the Cardinals. These are both eliminated as well. Atlanta, I didn't realize this. I hadn't considered it. I think I knew it at one time. They don't have a first-round pick this year. The Rams owned their first-round pick, and they stink. Yuck. Saints fans, you like that? Falcons, not in good shape. Raiders are at the Texans. The Raiders have allowed 4+ sacks 9 times. 4+ sacks 9 times in one season. That's not good. Oh, you know what's worse? The Texans have Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. So that's not great for the Raiders. All right, let's go to the good stuff. Some really good football this weekend. I got 4 games in Tier 1, which never happens. We'll do Tier 2 first. Chargers are at the Cowboys. Dallas is out with a win. Dallas is out with a loss or a Philadelphia win over Washington. The Chargers could be in with a win and a little bit of help. I think the Chargers are... I think they're a bit of a threat in the AFC that nobody's really talking about. I wouldn't pick them to win the AFC, but I just like Harbaugh, I guess. Steelers are at the Lions. These teams are both 8-6. TJ Watt with the collapsed lung, not going to be part of these festivities. But listen to these odd shifts based on this win or loss for these two 8-6 teams. If the Steelers win, they have an 80% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, that's down to 53. It's a coin flip. If Detroit wins, they're at 47%, so a coin flip if they win. If they lose, down to 16%. This is a massively impactful game between these two 8-6 teams. Steelers at the Lions. All right, Tier 1, this is the best stuff of the weekend. There are 4 games here. The Packers are at the Bears. Y'all know I follow a lot of Bears stuff unintentionally because all my Cubs people love the Bears. They're saying this is the biggest Bears home game in 13 years in the regular season. I'll take their word for it. Caleb Williams needs 689 passing yards to break the Bears' all-time passing single-season mark. They think they got their quarterback. They think they got their coach. They're fired up. They just never beat the Packers. We'll see if they can do it at Soldier Field coming up this weekend. Bucks are at the Panthers. Usually 7-7 teams aren't in Tier 1, but when you're fighting for the division crown at 7-7, you're in Tier 1. They play 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season. This one will be in Carolina. I like Tampa to snap out of it and go beat Carolina. I can't get over the hump thinking Carolina's good. I can't do it. I think the Bucks will go there and win. The Jaguars are at the Broncos. These teams are good. Both teams have a magic number of 2 to win their division, so they can win a game, have a second-place loss, and clinch the division. But that has to start with a win for either of these teams. The game will be in Denver. The Jags have covered 5 straight games. That's the longest streak in the NFL this year. Trevor Lawrence is finally playing really good football later in his career. The Patriots are at the Ravens. This is the last Tier 1 game. Last game we will talk about. Drake May leads the NFL in QBR, completion percentage, and yards per attempt on the road. They found their guy there in New England. They're playing great football under Mike Vrabel, who's probably going to be the coach of the year. And the Ravens have been a little bit better since Lamar came back after that terrible start. So we'll see how that one goes in Baltimore. Pats and Ravens rounding out Tier 1.
I like it.
Seeing if we were finishing right on the music. It was close. But yeah, I think this is a great... I mean, I never have 4 games in Tier 1. There's just so much on the line between these playoff teams. I'm fascinated by Bears-Packers because the Packers just own that franchise.
Yeah.
Own them.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they just play a couple weeks ago? Because I feel like we just talked about the Bears getting over that hump.
We did, and they did not.
Exactly.
So they just can't. I mean, it's so unfair. I talked about this a lot on my show, and y'all know how I get a bunch of Bears news. But think about this. They have been looking for a quarterback for 40 years.
Since the 80s.
And the Packers have had Favre, Rodgers, Love.
Yep.
Just with their thumb on the Bears forever. And you think about that because Chicago is one of the biggest markets, biggest cities in the country. and little old Green Bay right up the road just kicks your teeth in, has 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, a guy who's a Pro Bowler right now, and you can't ever find one. And the Bears usually have a good defense, and they never beat the Packers. Never.
Yeah, and especially when you have Aaron Rodgers going around saying he owns you. That just I couldn't fathom saying Matt Ryan going around saying he owns the Saints. So I can't even put myself in Bears fans' shoes.
Let's say the Steelers go to Detroit and lose. They're 8-7 at that point.
Yeah.
They have a 50-50 shot at making the playoffs. I don't think anybody thinks they're a significant threat in the AFC.
Not at all.
Playoffs. Would you let go of Mike Tomlin?
I will say this because I have friends that are Steelers fans. They're fed up with him. So you're
just so 9-8. You're such a 9-8 franchise.
You are. You've been there for at least since Big Ben's been there. So you've been there. You've been sitting here. The Steelers are the same team every year. They're gonna have some random quarterback, a good defense, and
rush the passer. Play in the cold.
A very bland offense. Like it's the same recipe they keep preparing, and it's not a different dish. So I can see them being in the. I'll say this: I can see the Steelers making the playoffs and then losing first round.
Yeah, they're never going to bottom out with Tomlin.
Never,
He's too good.
Never.
You're never going 4-13
Never.
and picking third in the draft. Like that's never going to happen with him there. But you're just not. They're just not dynamic, and I don't know if it's the fact that they just haven't found the quarterback, and you're now trying to cling to a 1,000-year-old quarterback.
That's on them though, because you keep doing that.
Well, you're not going to be able to draft a quarterback if you keep going 9-7. Or whatever, 9-8. I can't do the old 16. The old 16 team ones rolled right off my tongue. The 17 ones I have to think about before I say it out loud. But if you're never going to be terrible, like how are you going to get a quarterback trying to bark up this tree with Aaron Rodgers? It's a frustrating deal. And then the other game of interest, I think, clearly in this market is Bucs Panthers.
I love it.
NFC South, another atrocious performance by the division overall. Who do you think wins that game in Charlotte? They played twice in the last 3 weeks, so that's how the tiebreaker will be decided. That's how the division's going to be decided. Who do you think wins in this one?
Well, Hunt, I'm gonna be real. This is a real coin toss game because the Bucs they're on fumes right now.
They're playing terrible.
Yeah, they're rolling on fumes. But we saw what Shuck just did. So, man, I'm gonna say, and again, I'm with you with that. I can't fathom that the Panthers are actually good. Like I can't get over the fact that they're actually playing decent.
They got swept by the Saints.
Exactly.
There's no way they're good.
But then they swept the Falcons who beat the Saints. So that's why I'm so confused.
South bites.
So I'll say this.
So bad.
I can't even say the Bucs because they are on fumes for real. They are they are a hoopty. Okay, you know what? Bryce Young. I'm Bryce Young.
No, I got the Bucs. Give me the Bucs on the road in Charlotte. I think the Panthers stink.
I think both of them stink.
All right. Speaking of stink, the Jets will be in town this Sunday. Let's talk about it. Coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Looking for a Christmas gift? You just can't figure it out. Golfer in your life. Can't figure out what to do. Gotten them golf balls. Gotten her golf balls. How about a membership to Swing Easy Golf Club? That easy. Comes with 7-8 hours that are complimentary every month. Got a place to go work on your game. Got a place to go hang out and have some fun. You can entertain clients there. You can work on your game on the driving range setting. In there, climate controlled, great technology that gives you the information on how far your golf shots are carrying, give you a great visual as to how that ball looks in the air in its flight. You can get the ball speed, club head speed. You can look at the impact of your ball. It's an incredible facility. I love it. Spent a lot of time there over the last couple of months since they jumped on board. If you're looking for a Christmas gift for the golfer in your life, it's getting a little close to crunch time. How about a membership to Swing Easy? Stop on by Segan at Perkins. Stop. That's easy. 1, 2, 3, jump in, grab that membership, hop out, all done. You can check them out online, swingeasygcbr.com. And if you got family in town this weekend, got family in town next week, looking for something to do, Swing Easy Golf Club is an awesome place to go hang out. They're on Segan at Perkins. Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best.
We're hiring pipe fitters, ironworkers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Got a big crew coming to the house next week. Don't really want to spend all your time in the kitchen. Would rather spend time with family. Corks can cater. So call them up. Say, hey, need big old tray of that crispy fried catfish. Need a big old tray of those jumbo Gulf shrimp. Need all the French fries, all the sauces, honey butter rolls. Of course, they got the beignet bites as well. They can handle it there at Corks. Just give them a call. Don't spend your time cooking all holiday week long. Let Corks handle it from their kitchen. You can check out the menu online, corksfishandshrimp.com. All right, it'll be Saints and Jets on CBS, noon kickoff in the Dome on Sunday. These two teams have combined for a record of 7-21. It is not going to be a work of art in the Dome. I don't think anybody would suggest that. But you got to look, before we look at the home team, the Saints, before we look at the home market here, the Saints, you got to look outward, okay? This is a Jets team that is coming to the Dome. They do not have Sauce Gardner. They traded him. They do not have Quentin Williams. They traded him. They do not have Garrett Wilson. He's down for the rest of the year. They do not have Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor, their first two quarterbacks. Those guys are hurt and down. They've practiced this week, but they're not going to play. They do not have their defensive coordinator, who they fired last week, and they instead have Chris Harris making his debut as the interim defensive coordinator. He's never called defensive plays for. This Jets team is a shell of an NFL team, okay? A shell. They got a rookie, undrafted quarterback in Brady Cook going out there. They don't have their best playmakers. They don't have their best defensive players. They don't have their defensive coordinator. They're not even trying, okay? That's the first key to breaking down this game. The Jets are actively sabotaging themselves, okay? So now you flip that onto the home team. You flip that onto the Saints. I don't care. The Saints need to keep building on what they're doing. And it starts with the quarterback. We've talked about the quarterback all week. And I've had a low bar for him the entire time he's been starting. Low bar. Don't make any super foolish mistakes. Not expecting too much. just progress. And he's outperformed that. And I told you on Tuesday's show, we're going to change things up this week. I am putting some expectation on Tyler Shuck. I know he does not have a running game behind him. No Kamara, no Neal. I got it. Altrick Estime is going to start. I know Devon Vele, who's been a rock for him, is not going to play in this game. I get it. You're limited from a weapons perspective. Your offensive line has been pretty mediocre all year. But still, you're going against this Jets team that has fired its defensive coordinator, that's traded its best defensive players, that has the fewest takeaways in NFL history to this point in the season. They do not have an interception. So I'm expecting Tyler Shuck to go play some ball on Sunday. I want to see upwards of 260, 270, 280 passing yards. Trevor Lawrence carved these guys. 330 last week. I want to see some plays made down the field. I want to see efficiency. I'm not looking for just an average game out of Tyler Shuck. This is the week I want to see a bit of a blossom. I'm not saying throw for 385 and 5 scores. This isn't college football. It's not a FCS opponent here. But I do want to see some plays being made, and I don't want to go through another first half where the Saints have 3 points or 6 points. Put some points on the board. Sustain some drives. Make some plays. These guys stink. That's the expectation I have for the Saints on offense this week. Now, defensively, it should be, let's just say it's an advantageous matchup. New Orleans, to this point, over the last month, has played some really solid defense. I think Brandon Staley's got this group playing well. They held the Panthers to 17. They held the Bucks to 20. They held Miami to 21. They held the Falcons to 24. They held the Panthers to 7. Like, going back to that Rams game where Rams got after them a little bit, the Saints have been good on defense. Their young defensive backs have played well. You should be able to get your hands on a ball. Brady Cook threw it to the wrong team 3 times last week. Got to get your hands on at least one football this week. Got to try to get some pressure off the edge. Huge sack last week from Chase Young. Good to see that. Carl Granderson, see him get into the backfield, make some plays. You're dealing with a quarterback who is in over his head. He's just in over his head. He doesn't have Garrett Wilson. He's an undrafted rookie. Doesn't have any skill that's going to wow you. Arm strength, athleticism, there's not much there. This is a massively advantageous spot for the New Orleans defense. At home, you ought to go out there and control this game from start to finish. I'm not here suggesting that the Saints are all of a sudden one of the 10 or 12 best teams in the NFL because they've won 2 games in a row. Like, this is less to do about the Saints than it has to do about the Jets, who are trying to get to the top of the draft. They're taking their best players off the field. Because of that, I now look at New Orleans and I say, okay, then make them pay for it. Give them exactly what they're looking for. I'll be happy if the Saints go out and get a late win like they've gotten the last 2 times out with a late score that Chuck engineers. I'll be happy with that. But satisfied? No. This needs to be a game that the Saints dictate the terms of. You're starting to change the culture, starting to turn a new leaf over, starting to move a different direction. Control the game. Like, they did a good job in Tampa in inclement conditions, and I thought, for the most part, controlled that game. But this should be one, you take a lead early, you build that lead, and you put it away in the third quarter into the early fourth quarter. The Saints are 5.5-point favorite in this game. I think they should cover that number. It has 80% to do with the Jets and 20% to do with what the Saints have put out there. This is a game on Sunday. I think the Saints do control. I think they do dictate the terms. I think Shuck does play very well. And I think the Saints win this game comfortably. I've got New Orleans winning 27-7 in this game. And I think this is going to be a really positive final taste for the home crowd to see this organization. And I feel like there's a good chance they're going to go to Tennessee and win. And you've got a chance to go to Atlanta in that last game and really change the tenor of the tune around here entering the offseason. It's an opportunity that we just did not think was going to happen. You knew it was possible when you saw the schedule come out. You knew at the end of the schedule, You were going to be taking on a Carolina team that you didn't think would be very good. You would be taking on a Jets team you didn't think would be very good. You'd be taking on a Titans team with a rookie quarterback. You knew this was the end of the schedule, but it's here now, and you've made the quarterback change, and you started to put some things together, and you've played well in the last 2 weeks. Play well again here. Keep that momentum going. Take control of the game early. Build a 2-score lead. Get after a rookie quarterback. Have your rookie quarterback play as well as he has the last couple of weeks. Make some plays and put this thing on ice. I don't need any drama in the fourth quarter against this Jets team. I think the Saints get it done. I like them big on Sunday in the Dome. We'll certainly talk about it on Monday. Jordan, we got about half a minute here. 27-7, Saints all over them.
I got the Saints winning. I definitely had the Saints covering. I think this will be a game that gets a lot of people paid. So I got the Saints big. I don't know numbers exactly, but Saints big for sure.
I hope the Dome shows out. I have low expectations for that, but I hope they show out. I hope they show up. I hope they're excited because they haven't had anything to be excited about since the beginning of last season, 2 weeks in. Let's see if they show up on Sunday and see if the Saints show up against a terrible New York Jets football team. Friday show is brought to you by Corks. Missed any of the first hour? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. College football playoff cranks up in a moment or hours. We'll talk about that when we come back on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. And closet space may not be something that you consider all the time. Certainly wasn't for me. And then my girlfriend at the time, soon to be wife, now wife of my mother of my kids, moved in. She goes, this is not going to work. We had coats in the hallway. We had stuff in the attic. We had stuff in different rooms. It was a bad situation. But we knew we were moving, so we didn't call David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. You don't have to move. Maybe you love your location. You love your house. You love the interest rate you got locked in. You don't want to move. Well, then do a remodel of your closets. They can be customized exactly the way you want them, and they're going to look beautiful. And I can promise you this, David Duvall and his team are going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Start with that free consultation just to sit down with David and see what he can do. Financing options are available. Customize a closet for you with One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: You. Auctioneer Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm John Ryder. The college football playoff starts tonight with 9th-seeded Alabama taking on number 8-seed Oklahoma. The Tide are a 1.5-point favorite. ESPN college football analyst Greg McElroy on how the Sooners can knock off the Tide.
John Mateer plays smart football, and that starts by running the football. He's an elite runner. He can create big plays with his legs. He's been opportunistic with scramble and keeping plays alive. But against top-tier competition, he's had a tendency to play some hero ball. He made big mistakes against Ole Miss. He made big mistakes against Texas. He needs to play smart and avoid hero ball, just manage the game, and let his defense win it for him on the other side.
And the college football playoff first-round matchup, Alabama versus Oklahoma, right here on ESPN Radio with coverage starting tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You can watch the game on ESPN and ABC. Every game of the college football playoff is on ESPN Radio and the app. Right now, the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl on ESPN. NC State has a 7-0 lead on Memphis in the first quarter. Baseball, Rays trade righty Shane Baz to the Orioles for 4 prospects.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. I just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday from Unsportsmanlike. And just a reminder, we have you covered every weekday morning from 6 a.m. Eastern right here until 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, final hour of the week here, the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. We'll chat with Wilson Alexander of The Advocate in half an hour from right now. An hour from right now, I'll be out of this chair. Half an hour from right now, we'll talk to Wilson Alexander about his sit-down with Blake Baker, specifically about his conversations regarding Lane Kiffin and preparing for Lane Kiffin and coaching against Lane Kiffin on the field, which LSU has done the last couple of years against Ole Miss. So we'll talk to Wilson in 30 minutes. LSU and Southeastern on the hardwood tonight. Brief thought on that coming up as well. But we start with the college football playoff. I'm going to start on a negative tone. It'll be very quick, and then I'll get to the actual positive stuff and start talking about the games. How much cooler would it be tomorrow night if Oregon was hosting Notre Dame instead of James Madison? Or if Ole Miss and Vanderbilt were playing instead of Ole Miss and Tulane, which are stupid games. Okay, I've had enough of that. Let's actually talk about the games at hand. Just a quick vent. It was like 15 seconds, and now it's over. Tonight, it'll all start in Norman, Oklahoma. A very cool game. I do love these big-time brand matchups in stadiums in December in the playoff. I loved Tennessee going to Ohio State last year. I loved Clemson going to Texas last year. It's really cool, and you see this with Alabama and Oklahoma in this game, 2 of the most storied programs in the sport of college football. Oklahoma's a 1.5-point favorite in this game. Alabama started as a slight favorite, now Oklahoma a slight favorite. It's essentially been hovering around a pick 'em all week long, and it's a rematch game. And everyone's kind of had the same take on it, and I don't know that there is another take. You've got a physical, mean Oklahoma team with an elite defense against a soft, finesse Alabama team. Like, that's the game. And last time these two teams played in Tuscaloosa, Alabama ran the ball 33 times for 80 yards. That is 2.4 yards per carry. You're looking at Oklahoma rush defense that's 5th in the country. Alabama's rushing offense is 117th. If you want perspective on that, it's not pleasant, but LSU, how did LSU run the ball this year? They were 122nd in the country. Bama was 117th. It's what and what. Bama's rushing attack is essentially like LSU's, which is to say completely non-existent. And I just think that is such a big deal in this game. One team simply is not going to be able to run the ball. And I do think Ty Simpson's pretty good. He hasn't played as well in the last month as he did in October. He was really good at Georgia. But it's going to have to be on him. Like, if he's not a 10 out of 10 in this game, they can't win, in my opinion. He's got to be 10 out of 10. If he is 6 out of 10, they got no shot. They're not going to score 14 points if he's 6 out of 10. So it's a huge, huge deal. But on the flip side, Oklahoma's offense is not very good, y'all. It's not. Y'all know that, but John Mateer hasn't been great since he came back from the injury. They run it okay. They're not super explosive. Like, Satania can hit the big play, has hit the big play on occasion, but they're not great on offense. Here's a key that I almost never talk about, but it's worth talking about in this game. The kickers. Bama's got Connor Talty. He has missed 6 times this year, including 3 misses under 40. Not under 50, under 40. He's got 3 misses. And on the other sideline, you've got Tate Sandell. And Tate Sandell is the best kicker in college football. He's 23 of 24 this year. From over 50 yards, he is 7 for 7. And this game probably comes down to a score, because I don't think Alabama's going to score a lot on Oklahoma's defense, and Oklahoma doesn't really score a lot on most of anybody. So maybe it comes down to the kickers, and that is advantage Oklahoma. I think the crowd is advantage Oklahoma. So this is a 1.5-point number. I know that everybody and their mother is going to be on Oklahoma in this game because nobody trusts Alabama's offense, and they've seen how badly they got beat by Georgia and how poorly they played against Auburn, who's not very good. But I'm taking Oklahoma because the only thing I know about this game is that Oklahoma's defense is good and it's going to show up. I don't know what Alabama offense is going to show up. I don't know how I feel about Alabama's run defense. I don't know how many big plays Oklahoma's going to be, but I know Oklahoma's defense is going to show up. So I'll take the Sooners. I'll lay the 1.5 there in Norman. Then we move to the morning game tomorrow with Miami and Texas A&M. And I'll tell you what, I know it's 11 o'clock in the morning. Those A&M fans are going to be there. That place is going to be packed. That place is going to be on springs. This is the biggest football game that Texas A&M has played in my lifetime. It's in their stadium. You've got a name brand coming in. It's going to be a madhouse in Kyle Field for this game. Aggies are 3-point favorites. And I was looking at some different angles on this game. You know, A&M leads the nation in sacks. They got 41. And Miami's got a really good pass rush as well. Bain's been great for them. They're tied for 19th in the country with 34 sacks. That actually leads the ACC. So you got the nation's leader in A&M, the ACC leader in Miami in sacks. Now, A&M's offensive line has allowed the fewest sacks in the SEC this year. But Texas did get after Marcel Reed a little bit. Texas did beat them at the point of attack in that game in Austin. And these quarterbacks, who could be under duress because of these pass rushes, have made a lot of mistakes this year. Marcel Reed, 10 interceptions this year. He has thrown an interception in 7 of their 12 games. He threw 2 in Tiger Stadium. He threw a couple against Texas. He will turn the ball over at times. And Carson Beck does too. Now, his 10 interceptions have come a different way. Like Marcel Reed, again, at least 1 in 7 of the 12 games. Carson Beck's 10 interceptions, 6 of them came in their 2 losses. He threw 4 picks against Louisville. He threw 2 against SMU, and they lost that game. So what quarterback handles some pass rush? Carson Beck's going to have to deal with pass rush and the crowd. Marcel Reed won't have to deal with the crowd, but he will have to deal with the pass rush. I am curious how healthy Le'Veon Moss is for this game. A&M has missed him. He's a really good back. Now, they've got other good backs, but Moss is really good, and it seems like he's healthy, seems like he's going to give it a go. I think the running game is going to be important in this game. You cannot let these 2 pass rushes get cooking. And I trust A&M to run the ball a little bit more than I trust Miami to run the ball. I trust that Kyle Field crowd. And I don't know that I don't like Texas A&M against Ohio State. Even in Dallas, I don't think they'll win that game. But I don't like Miami going to College Station and winning. I know I'm a sucker. I know I take favorites all the time. I'm not a great handicapper. I admit that. I do a lot of research. I give you an opinion. It's usually wrong. But I like the home crowd. I like the home team's ability to run the ball. And I think that in a battle of quarterbacks that do make mistakes, I think the road quarterback is more likely to make mistakes. I'll take A&M, and I'll lay the 3 points in this game. Now, y'all know how I feel about the two later games. Tulane at Ole Miss, James Madison at Oregon. I think it's an absolute joke that these teams have been let into the playoff. A mockery of the sport. It has nothing to do with Tulane, has nothing to do with James Madison, it has everything to do with these stupid rules and just including everybody because we need to make everybody feel good. You got people tweeting, well, you can't exclude half the sport. Sure you can. You can exclude more than half the sport. You can. Like, I promise. I don't think they should be on the field, and I don't think they'll be very competitive. Everybody's going, well, Tulane they'll be more representative this time. They won't get blown out. Yes, they will. They will get blown out. Because Ole Miss has got a bunch of SEC dudes who are going to go play in the NFL, and Tulane's got a bunch of dudes who play in the American. They got annihilated in this game last time. They got annihilated by UT San Antonio. So I think that it's probably a game that's played pretty close to the number. I'll take Ole Miss and lay the 17.5. It's probably going to take a late score to get there. But Ole Miss is going to be able to run their offense. Keep in mind, Charlie Weiss did call the plays. Lane Kiffin was on the headset and certainly had his input. No question about that. And I think he's a big part of the brains behind the operation. But Charlie Weiss knows the communication, and he knows the offense. He'll be able to call the plays. Their quarterback's good. And they've got a good defense that's going to give Tulane nightmares. So I'm disenchanted with the whole process and prospect of these two teams in Tulane and James Madison being in the playoff, and I think that they get run off the field. Now, that in mind, if I'm wrong, and Tulane does go up there and beat Ole Miss, it will be freaking hilarious. Hilarious. Because immediately the tenor in Oxford would switch from, doesn't matter, Golding was running all the recruiting anyway. Look, he's the guy that's handled this operation for the most part. We've got the collective. We've got the dudes. We've already climbed the elite of college football. We're fine. It will switch from that to, oh, crap, in 3 hours. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. We watch these Group of Five versus SEC versus Big Ten games every September, and they almost all go the same way. 48-14, 38-3. That's what I think they're both going to look like. I'm hopeful. I'm pulling for Tulane. Roll wave. I don't think it's going to help. And you got James Madison, and I'll be pretty candid with you on this. I'm not doing research on James Madison Dukes football. I host a talk show here in Baton Rouge. We talk a lot about college football. James Madison's the playoff. I don't even know what their quarterback's name is. I don't care. I'm not interested in doing research about James Madison. They're going to go to Austin Stadium. Oregon is going to demolish them, and then they'll throw a party and go back to wherever James Madison is in Virginia. Whatever. They're going to get destroyed. I may not watch very much of this game. 6:30 kickoff Saturday night. We'll see if the kids want to watch Elf or something. I'm not watching the James Madison Dukes play Oregon in the playoff. Does that make me a bad person, Jordan? If I don't want to watch the Dukes play?
Not really, because I do see Oregon demolishing them. But hey, man, roll wave, bro. I'm on Tulane heavy. You know how I feel about Ole Miss. Can't stand them.
I guess I'm not allowed to take 4 favorites because that just makes me a huge sucker. So give me James Madison plus the points. I'll take that. That's great bet.
Over Tulane?
I'm off Tulane.
Oh, there's no way.
I'm ticked at Tulane.
I don't even think James Madison scores 14 points. I think Oregon's going to just steamroll them, like get them out of here.
I take back my pick. I got 4 favorites. Taking all the favorites, laying all the points. All the points. We're laying them all. That's what we do here. That's why we post about a 40% win percentage in our picks. Because I love the favorites. I like betting on good teams.
So you're Mr. Chalky.
Yes,
you're
just
Mr. Chalky.
chewing it by the fistful. Chalk everywhere.
I can't wait.
Got it all over my mouth. Everywhere.
Whoa! Pause. Okay. I can't wait to see your bracket for March Madness. I can't wait.
Give me the 1 seeds, baby.
I know.
They're good.
I can only imagine what your bracket looks like.
I'm terrible at all this stuff. At least I know. Just don't give my cash away. Give me the 4 favorites. I I'll watch Tulane Ole Miss for 20 minutes.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
It's not going to be good.
It's going to be good.
We already saw the game.
We did. That's why.
It was a complete embarrassment.
It was, and I was on Tulane heavy that game
good
too.
when they play Charlotte and whoever the heck else is in their conference.
Hey,
they played a game to get in the playoff against North Texas, the Mean Green. That's who they had to beat to get in the playoff.
They did. North Texas.
Kentucky would beat North Texas.
It'd be a shootout. It'll be a shootout. I think Kentucky will win. Hold on. I just want to say this. You know where I stand about Ole Miss. I just think they're flying way too close to the sun. I just think that
I need them to lose. I need Kewan to get on I-55 South.
I need all of them to leave just so I can just be like, Pete Golding, huh? Pete Golding. So I
can't get over that tweet. He took a headshot picture, and one of the Ole Miss podcasters said that Ole Miss is going to be a bigger problem than they already were because Pete Golding got a haircut. That was the take. He got a haircut. He shaved. Now Ole Miss is the deal.
Okay, I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wilson Alexander in 15 minutes. We'll talk Tiger hoops. I'm going to be in the PMAC tonight. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
If you don't have any interest in watching James Madison play football, you can go hit at Marucci. Got a youth baseball, softball player in your house? Take him over to Marucci. Let him swing in the cages. Get a tour. It's truly one of the coolest spots we have in Baton Rouge. They churn out 1,200 bats every day. This is an operation that started in 2004. 20 years later, it's the official bat of Major League Baseball. That's a cool thing for us to have here in Baton Rouge. It's a cool place to go see. If you got family in town this week, like, what are we going to do? Go to Marucci. Check it out. If you got kids in that crew, let them go hit. They can do that. You can take tours, and every ticket comes with a 20% discount in there at Marucci. So go by and see them. They're on Segan. And just take a tour. See one of the coolest gems that we've got here in the capital city. Marucci, official bat of Major League Baseball.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
What's it like preparing for Lane Kiffin, coaching against Lane Kiffin on game day? Well, Blake Baker knows, and he talked to Wilson Alexander about that. And Wilson wrote about it in The Advocate. He's going to talk to us about that conversation coming up in 10 minutes. LSU has not played a home basketball game in 28 days. That changes tonight. Tigers played 5 away from the PMAC. They certainly went to Destin, got wins over DePaul and Drake, then went up to Boston and beat Boston College, then to Fort Worth, where they got trounced by Texas Tech, came back and to New Orleans and handled SMU back on Saturday. They'll play in the PMAC tonight, 7 o'clock. Southeastern comes down I-12 for a 7 o'clock tip-off. And Southeastern's not very good. They're 4-7. They've actually played 3 conference games already. Step out of conference for this one, then right back into Southland play. So this is just an opportunity for LSU to get back out on the floor after a week off. We talked to Matt McMahon earlier this week, and what he liked about the last 2 weeks is they've really had a good chance to practice. When you go to Destin, spend some time literally on the beach, and then you travel to Boston, which got back really late at night. They had to fly to New Orleans. You kind of lose a day with that situation. You've had finals, and then you had to travel to Fort Worth, then you travel back to New Orleans. Like they've done a lot of playing and traveling, not as much practicing, and they got to get back to practice. And that showed, I thought, on Saturday last week in New Orleans, where they played their best game of the year, I think by a pretty considerable margin. You could argue the DePaul game was as good, and I wouldn't fight you on that, but I think that the game against SMU was their best performance of the year. They've kind of gotten a handle on how to play without Jalen Reed now. He's been down for a couple of weeks, so it's a chance for them to get back out on the floor. They're a heavy favorite. They'll win the game tonight. There's very little doubt about that. This is a Southeastern team that ranks 328th nationally in points per game and 354th in three-point shooting. There are only 365 teams in Division I, and they're near the bottom in terms of offensive production. LSU, I don't think, is going to be a great defensive team this year. They should put the clamps on Southeastern. The goal tonight should be to hold Southeastern under 60 points. Ole Miss did that back in November, and I think LSU should aim for that tonight. It's just not a Southeastern team that packs much punch offensively. What Southeastern can do is turn you over defensively. They're 29th in the country in steals per play, and they want to get after you and play man-to-man defense, take some chances. And so I'm not really concerned with De'Don Thomas in this game. He's going to be fine. What I will be watching, and I'm digging here, trust me, I'm digging, and I know that this is nitty-gritty stuff, and we're going to get back to football here in 8 minutes, but I am curious how Jalen Reese progresses in these 3 games that LSU plays in non-conference, because De'Don Thomas needs not be asked to play 38 minutes consistently. That number needs to be closer to 33, 34, I think. He needs to be able to come off the floor a little bit, and your backup point guard is a true freshman. So this is a chance to get Jalen Reese some numbers. You look back over this 5-game stretch against better teams in the non-conference, and he's played about 8 minutes per game. I would like that to double tonight. I'd like to see him play closer to 16 and just handle the basketball, run the offense, get your feet out on the floor, because you're going to have to give De'Don Thomas a break. And I need to see Jalen Reese continue to progress. He's been fine when he's been on the floor. He's not a great shooter, but that's not what I'm asking you to do. I just need you to control the basketball, control the tempo, and get the ball where it needs to go to initiate the offense. And that needs to get through Max McKinnon. That needs to get through Mike Nwoku. That needs to come back and reset in the middle of a shot clock. Like, these are things you need to handle. I'm going to be watching LSU's freshman point guard tonight against a team that will play aggressively defensively. So I'm looking for that. And then the other thing, and this is very simple, Mike Nwoku's got to stop getting in foul trouble. LSU overcame it in New Orleans. He came out real quickly with 2 fouls after like 3 minutes of play, and LSU was fine. They went on and scored almost 50 points in the first half. But he's very important to what LSU's trying to do. And if he's on the bench, he can't be important. And the other piece to that puzzle is that you don't have Jalen Reed now. So now you're having to go to Robert Miller for more minutes than you were planning on, and you got to move Markel Sutton down from the 3 to the 4, where he's a little bit undersized physically and can't use his versatility quite like you'd like him to. I like him at the 3. When Nwoku gets in foul trouble and comes off the floor, LSU's got to play small. I don't really want to play small. Like, you can, but LSU doesn't shoot the three that well. So that's one of the things that small ball teams really like to do is get some shots up. Well, I mean, unless McKinnon's on a heater, you don't shoot it that great. So I need Mike Nwoku to get out of foul trouble. He's not been a big minute guy for LSU anyway. He's top 20 minutes twice this year. They want to play him 18 to 22 minutes in games. But that number drops like a brick when you got to come out 4 minutes in the game because of foul trouble. So he has to do one of two things. Stop getting in foul trouble or learn to play with it. And Matt McMahon's not trusting him to do that right now. He's taking him off the floor. So this is a simple thing. Don't get in foul trouble, Mike Nwoku. Understand that it is literally better to give up a layup than to pick up your second foul 3 minutes into the game. You've got 37 minutes to make up for that layup. You get a foul there as your second foul, you sit for 17 minutes. You've taken yourself out for half the game. He's too important to what LSU does because now that Reed's out, they don't have anybody that tips the scale north of 220 except Nwoku, who's up at 270. When you had Reed, you had some depth. You don't have Reed anymore, so they've got to keep him out of foul trouble in this game. Always important to knock down shots. Want to see Max McKinnon do that as he has. And LSU should coast in this game. I haven't looked at a number for this game. I will find that right now. Let me guess it. That's always a fun game. I would guess LSU is a 17.5 point favorite in this game. That's my guess. Now I'm going to pull it up, and I could look very smart. I could look very stupid. But I'm willing to do that on live air for you. So here I clicked on SEC, 23.5. So I was off by a good bit there. 23 is a lot. But you consider what I started with, that LSU should hold this Southeastern team to 55, 58 points. And if LSU does what they did in the first 5 games of the season, which is score 90, you cover that with ease. So Southeastern's bad. They're 4-7. They're 1-5 on the road. I told you that Ole Miss held them under 60. The final in that game was 88-58, so Ole Miss beat them by 30 in the regular season opener. They played Mississippi State a little bit closer than that. They played them to a 7-point game. It was 75-68 in Starkville. That's the only 2 high major games. Oh, sorry, they played at Georgia Tech as well and lost by 10. So it's not a good Southeastern team. It shouldn't be much of a game tonight, but there are some things that I want to pay attention to. And keep this in mind if you're a sicko. If you're not a sicko and you're ready for me to talk about football, I am in 4 minutes. But if you're a sicko, the efficiency numbers that LSU puts up in these games do matter for the net ranking. And LSU's net ranking looks very pretty on paper right now because they're destroying these teams. Your offensive efficiency goes up, so does your net ranking. Your defense efficiency goes up, so does your net ranking. So there is some value in winning this game by 40 points. You got to play well to do that. I think LSU will play well tonight. I'm excited to get out in the PMAC tonight. Going to watch, bring the Myers man for maybe the first half, maybe a little bit more than that. We'll see when he wants to go. When he get home, we'll watch a little Alabama, Oklahoma on the TV. But I'm going to be in the PMAC tonight. Myers man's fired up about it. So hope to see some people out on this holiday Friday. I'll be in that number. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight. Come back and talk to Wilson Alexander about his sit-down with Blake Baker. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. A lot of folks renew their insurance program in January. If that's you and you want a second set of eyeballs on it, the Highland Insurance Group is happy to do that. They pride themselves on their technical expertise when it comes to insurance. It's not the most fun thing in the world to talk about, but I've seen it personally. I'm 7 years in the industry. I know what that conversation's like when a hurricane's blown through and you've got to start going through that policy and making sure that you're going to be made whole. You're going to be made whole with your building, which has been damaged. You're going to be made whole from a business interruption standpoint because you weren't able to work because there was a storm. Well, is that limit proper? Are you going to get paid out? Is there an advocate there for you when that day happens? Because you never know. Like, we can track a hurricane days in advance, but at this point, if you're renewing your policy in January, we don't know what the storm season is going to look like. You don't know when one of your employees is going to click that email he or she was not supposed to click and you've got a cyber breach. You don't know when that car accident is going to happen with a company vehicle. Make sure your policy is written properly so that you're made whole. That's what the point of insurance is. I know we like to talk about the premium on the front end, and trust me, the Howard Insurance Group will take that very seriously. They've got contracts with dozens of carriers to make sure that you're properly priced. But the coverage is paramount, and they take care of you at the Highland Insurance Group. These are experts. They know what these policies read like, and they know what to look for. They can help you out. So if you are looking for a January renewal or just want a second set of eyes on your current program because you're nervous you may not be covered, the Highland Insurance Group is happy to help you out with that. So contact Jonathan Carbo at his team, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Lockmeyer to Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose. Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmeyer to Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wildin'.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Getting closer to the finish line here on this Friday. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Let's take it or leave it and get on down the road here shortly. But let's talk some LSU football. To do that, we bring on Wilson Alexander, beat writer over at The Advocate. Good enough to give us some time on this Friday on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Wilson, how are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Hunt?
Doing quite well. I was interested in reading your piece that you put up today, talking about Blake Baker and preparing for Lane Kiffin, coaching against Lane Kiffin. We know Blake Baker's done that at LSU, also at Missouri as well. So when you sat down with Blake Baker, what were you hoping to glean from him?
Well, the conversation was mostly for talking about his decision to come back
Yep.
and all that, which we'll have a story about coming here, in the days, week ahead or something like that. But we were ended up able to talk a little bit about facing a Lane Kiffin offense. I thought it'd be so interesting to hear Blake's perspective on that because he did it for the past couple of years. And now here you are, your own defense coordinator here has some insight into that. And it was interesting hearing him talk about how he finds that the Lane Kiffin offense, which I guess we should start by saying, it's the Lane Kiffin offense, but Charlie Weiss is the primary play caller. But still it's sort of that brain trust together. He described it as fearless. And almost he didn't want to say, he said it's not reckless, but the word kind of came to his mind. But he said it was sort of like it's fearless and they are. It makes it tough as a defensive play caller because they can be pretty unpredictable. One of the things that he mentioned was, you face them in the 6th game of the year. You've watched 5 games of tape, and what they do in that 6th game can be completely different sometimes because they're really good at breaking tendencies, understanding what their tendencies are, and then changing some things up and making that easy to understand for their offense and able to operate even when they get away from maybe some of their typical stuff. And so, yeah, he said it can be really tough as a defensive coordinator to go up against them.
Everybody seems to share that sentiment with Lane Kiffin. There are mixed feelings about him, I think, nationally, certainly in Oxford, but nobody has questioned his offensive acumen. You watched this LSU team play offense. You chatted with Blake Baker about what it's like to prepare for Lane Kiffin. Like, how quickly do you think Lane can get this thing up and running offensively in Baton Rouge?
It all is going to depend on the personnel, right? I mean, can they get a good offensive line in here in an off season? If they can do that, they can go sort of repair this offensive line in a hurry, then I think that LSU can make some pretty significant steps forward within a year. Because you would expect him and this offensive staff to go and get a good quarterback and to go and get some other weapons for that quarterback. You still got some stuff in the running back room that you like, and we'll see what else they bring in there. And, you need to go get some receiver help too, but you got Trades Green to build around. And if they can just get the offensive line in a good place, then I think that this offense could end up being pretty effective in year one and then continue to build moving forward. But it's just, it's a big question mark. It's a huge question mark because there's so many players that they are going to be replacing on that offensive line. How many can you go and get in the transfer portal realistically at a high level is going to be fascinating over the next few weeks.
Let's bring things back to Blake Baker. You mentioned you chatted with him about a number of topics. What do you think the last 4 weeks have been like for him?
Well, they were certainly a bit that 1 week really in particular right after Lane got hired and he was trying to decide about Tulane or Memphis was, I think, pretty hard on him. I mean, he was talking about how, he was a little bit torn there, especially with Tulane being his alma mater, trying to figure out exactly what to do. Was this the right time to make a move to become a head coach for the first time? But talking to him really got the sense that kind of in his gut the whole way through, at least he sort of seems to say that he always kind of wanted to stay. He really had been thinking throughout that entire week, and from talking to people close to him even earlier in the week, that the idea of moving his family again was something that he wasn't necessarily crazy about doing, especially if he was going to be going to Tulane or Memphis, ideally, in his mind, that would be a fairly short stop on the way to becoming a Power 4 head coach. And so that, combined with the contract that LSU gave him, making it financially a lot of sense to just stay because the money was comparable, I think it ended up really working out for him to make a decision that he felt really good about. He talked about how the next day he woke up and he was just like, yeah, this was the right move. I feel really good about this. And so since then, I don't know how stressful it's been because the signing period's over, but you're also getting ready for the portal. And so there's a lot going to that as well, and hiring now a new defensive line coach.
I want to ask you about the current structure of LSU football right now, because on the outside, like what we know is that Lane Kiffin and obviously Billy Glasscock and those guys are looking to 26, and then you've got Frank Wilson running a team for a bowl game, and then you've got some guys, Blake Baker included, that are part of both of those. So what is your sense of how LSU football is operating right now and for the next week and a half?
From what I understand, it's almost like you've got sort of two different staffs in there, and you've got, like you described, the guys who are coming in from Lane Kiffin, who are looking ahead to 2026 and really not worrying too much about anything to do with the Texas Bowl. You've got the continuity, at least on the defensive side, where they're able to kind of do like you normally would this time of year, where get ready for a bowl game while in the meantime looking ahead to 2026 and getting ready for the portal. But then you've also got the old staff that is on its way out the door and looking for new jobs and trying to get this thing through to the finish line, but also with an eye on their own futures. And so it's probably a little bit of a unusual dynamic in football ops right now, just with all of those different things happening. But it's also not totally, I think, foreign to these guys. People around there will often say, like, this is kind of what we signed up for in this business, and we understand that. And it sounds like everybody's, at least who's there right now, is trying to get through this bowl game and then understanding that everything will splinter off after that.
We know that Blake Baker was very, very impactful in bringing Kevin Peoples in, bringing Jake Olson in to work with his defense. Corey Raymond was a guy that was an obvious add back for Brian Kelly when the opportunity came. Defensive line's been a revolving door. What do you get the sense that process looks like right now, and when what a timeline might be for LSU filling that position?
Yeah, that could actually get done here fairly soon. LSU is targeting Sterling Lucas, the defensive line coach at South Carolina. A deal is maybe not finalized yet. I'm not sure if it's finalized just yet, but it's getting close from what I was told really just a few minutes ago. And so LSU is getting close there to wrapping that up. You know, Elijah Robinson was a big name in this search at one point. A few days after it seemed like he was going to get hired, they started to think like, probably not, kind of went in a different direction, started interviewing some other candidates. Now Sterling Lucas is the target and could be hired here maybe by the end of the day. I'm not sure exactly what the timeline on that would be, but it's getting close from what I was told.
Very, very interesting. Well, I know we'll be looking forward to reading more about your conversation with Blake Baker, coverage of the all-important Texas Bowl, and then whatever comes after that as far as the transfer portal goes. We appreciate a little bit of time, Wilson.
Thanks for having me, Hunt.
He is Wilson Alexander with The Advocate at WHAlexander_ on Twitter. Does an awesome job for The Advocate. So that's interesting news, kind of breaking news there from Wilson that LSU could have an offensive line coach from South Carolina. I don't know anything about him, and we'll have to do some research on that. I know that South Carolina's had some pretty good defensive fronts the last 2 years. Now, personnel, big part of that. Dylan Stewart, pretty good player. Last year they had 5. I can't remember his name. He was a terror. Yeah, Kyle Kennard was a monster on the other edge. So, yeah, they've had some pretty good ones. So, sounds good to me based on just knowing those two things. That's all I got. But we'll certainly do some research on that, and sounds like we'll have something to talk about early next week. Just a little bit of housekeeping for us. We will have shows Monday and Tuesday of next week. The 22nd and 23rd will be off on Christmas Eve, the 24th on Wednesday, Christmas Day, of course, on Thursday, and then we'll be off on that Friday as well. So short week for us next week, Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to enjoy some time in Shreveport. And then LSU plays next Saturday. So we'll have a normal pre- and post-game show for LSU. I'm not sure what Guarantee's plan is. We go on 8.1 game day. I would find it hard to imagine a full 2-hour post-game show is going to be done because that game's going to be over after midnight. I'm not going to be done until like 2.
I have news.
Oh, what's that?
There is no post game for this game.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all. One, very few people give a rip about the outcome of this game.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that out loud, but I'm not going to blow smoke. It just is what it is.
This is what Handy said, so you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, and look, I when I saw the game time for that, I went, well, that's terrible because 8:15, a bowl game, which they sell commercials till the cows come home on that thing. So you're talking 12:30 at the earliest that game's over.
Yeah.
That puts me on the air at 1, done at 2.
Yeah.
That's me on, and so that would be Hanny 2 to 4.
Yeah, and he was like, we're not doing that.
I don't think so. Good idea, Hanny. Great call on that for Eagle. The only bowl game I did not want LSU to play in was the Texas Bowl.
Yeah.
On my kid's birthday, primed me out of Shreveport.
You did do that.
I got to leave a day early up till 2. It's going to be not great, but it is what it is. Got to go take care of business in the Kinder's Texas Bowl, baby. Got to tame the Cougars.
8:15 kickoff.
Just not great. I'm done complaining. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. Find them online, lifetimeroofingla.com. Had a great sit down with the crew over at Lifetime Roofing in their gorgeous facility, by the way, just off of College. They've been there for a couple of years now. They've got an amazing staff. It's a growing staff over there at Lifetime Roofing, and they are an incredible local company. Listen to some of the deals that they've got for you. They've got financing available if you're buying a roof from them. 0% for up to 18 months. 0%, same as cash. And they can finance a deductible. So if you are getting insurance involved, there is a claim that you're making, and you want to finance that deductible, you've got a sizable deductible, maybe a 2%, you can finance that as well. And how about this? As of January 1st, so give it a couple days, week and a half, as of January 1st, they can offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Incredible stuff over at Lifetime Roofing. If you want to learn more, you can reach out to them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. They do re-roofing. They do inspections to give you the peace of mind to know that your roof is in good shape. They'll do a roof tune-up for you. Not every roof needs to be replaced. Maybe you just need a tune-up, but if you need a replacement, they can do that. Maybe you get insurance involved. Maybe you do not. You just purchase one from the folks over at Lifetime Roofing. They will help you out with financing options available. Check them out online, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raising Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Got a whole crew coming in this coming week for the holidays. Don't want to spend all your time cooking and cleaning. Just call Corks. They'll cater. Big old trays, jumbo shrimp. Big old trays, crispy fried catfish. They got your French fries. Got all the sauces you need, your tartar sauce, cocktail sauce. Also got the Cork sauce, which is awesome. The recipe was developed right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. It is phenomenal. So stop on by for dinner this afternoon, this evening, or have them cater your big family gathering for Christmas. They're happy to feed the office for lunch if you're doing that to start the year off. And they're happy to help you in whatever way you need help with delicious crispy fried catfish and jumbo Gulf shrimp. Whatever way that may be, Corks can help you out with it. Check them out online, corksfishandshrimp.com, corksfishandshrimp.com. All right, should I have picked all 4 favorites in the college football playoff? Was that foolish? I don't think Jimmy would approve that.
I wouldn't approve it at all, too, because I'm about to say that it's too chalky. It's too chalky.
Well, who am I supposed to take on the underdog side? Tulane?
You already know, man. Roll Wade, man. We are. Listen, Hunt.
Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah, I mean, look, it ain't the best roster, but we're both in agreement. We hate Ole Miss. We hate Ole Miss.
Sure.
So we have to. And well, again, I'm talking to somebody from New Orleans, so I'm a roll with Tulane. It ain't like Tulane. You know, Tulane cool colors and all that. You know, they cool. But you know, I don't like Uptown, so that's why for the Tulane people here, I'm not an Uptown guy.
Not an
Uptown guy. West Bank, not an Uptown guy. Not an Uptown guy. But, I'm rolling with the wave. I hate Ole Miss even more. So that's why I feel like at least just throw them, because we know that underdog and James Madison, Oregon, that's going nowhere. Let's be real. We know that ain't going nowhere.
Here's what I need. I need either
yes,
Ole Miss or Texas A&M to lose. One of them. That will bring me enough enjoyment for the weekend. Now, that's petty. That's pathetic. That's pitiful because my team's 7-5 and the Texas Bowl stinks.
Yes.
I get it, but what else do I have?
We don't have much, but you just jogged my memory with that because you asked me earlier what were the picks. A lot of handicappers, they're on Miami. So you might be able to, a lot of them are on Miami.
The question is A&M really good like they were? They go beat Notre Dame on the road.
Yeah.
What we saw in the second half in Tiger Stadium, what we saw in the second half against South Carolina, or is that first half against South Carolina and the second half against – now, keep in mind, they were winning at halftime against Texas, and they got beat in the second half. Are those halves more indicative of really what they are? We know what the schedule was. A&M got the biggest break in the history of the league.
We broke it down.
In scheduling. But I still think they're decent. They got some good players. I need Marcel Reed to throw picks. I need Carson Beck to not throw picks. That's what it comes down to. They both threw 10 this year.
Ooh.
I think Kyle Fields going to be on fire. I think they're going to be hard to handle in there. That's just my feeling. Like most stadiums would prefer that night game. I'm sure A&M certainly would prefer the night game, but they're going to be going nuts in there.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Look, this next week's going to be a little bit booze forward, right? It's just the way things go around the holiday season. If you're looking to pick something up, to bring to a party, or to have at the house, Flight by Yingling. I got some in the fridge right now, and I'm probably going to have one after I get home from the basketball game. That's just the way things go. It's Flight by Yingling. It's everything you're looking for in a light beer. Just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and all that delicious flavor from the oldest brewery in America. Still family-owned and operated. That is Yingling. Flight by Yingling. Next generation of light beer.
Okay, to start it off, this one really isn't a take or leave it. I just want you to put your mark in the sand right now. So it's a 5-team race for the number one pick in the NFL between the Raiders, the Titans, the Browns, the Jets, and the Giants. Call it now, Hunt. Who is getting the number one pick in the draft?
The Raiders? Is that right?
Yeah, the Raiders, the Titans, the Browns, the Jets, and the Giants.
Aren't the Raiders just awful?
Terrible.
They had 75 yards last week.
They're terrible.
That's my pick.
The Raiders.
Give me the Raiders.
Mendoza, the Raiders, number one pick?
Man, is that?
They need a quarterback. It ain't Geno.
I'll hand up, and y'all know this is like a work thing. It's not a choice thing all the time.
Yes.
When LSU plays at 7.
Or you're watching LSU? Yeah, of course.
Then I'm on the air at 5. That means I'm getting to campus at 3:30. That means I'm leaving my house a little bit before 3. And then from 3 p.m. to midnight, I'm in LSU. And I haven't watched Indiana play that much. Okay. I watched the whole Big Ten championship games. Like, I have seen Mendoza play, but, like, why? Is it because Indiana's been terrible my whole life that I just don't feel like he's, like, awesome? I don't get, like...
He's not flashy.
I don't get Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Joe Burrow vibes from Fernando Mendoza.
He's not that.
I don't know. I don't get the sense that some organizations hit the jackpot because they can draft Fernando Mendoza first. It might be simply because of the uniform he's wearing. Like that could be it. But I haven't seen him that much. I don't know. And then going to the Raiders, like.
Oof. Hey, look, he's not dynamic like those guys you said, those Pantheon legends, but he's kind of like a Gen Z Kirk Cousins. That's the best way I can explain Mendoza.
Look, you could do worse at quarterback than prime Kirk Cousins. That guy was chucking around for $5,000 a year, so whatever.
And he ran up over, I think it's close to like $500 million all time. So listen, Arch Manning's reportedly taking a pay cut in revenue share at Texas in 2026 in the hope of building the Texas Longhorn roster for a championship run for his final season in college football. Now we're having college football quarterbacks taking pay cuts like franchise QBs. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I love it.
I'll take it.
It's a capitalist market. Go get what you can get, as they say. But I love the fact that Arch Manning's like, well, if we need to save, like his grandparents have plenty of money.
Yeah.
His dad and mom have plenty of money. He's got plenty of money. Like if we're I don't know what we're talking about here, but if you need to disperse that to go get some offensive linemen, I think that's awesome. Look, I've seen LSU baseball players, Rafe Rhymes and Mason Katz, when they were the best 2 players on the team in 2013, outside of Nolan Bregman, but they were the stalwart veterans. They weren't on scholarship because you had 11.7 and said, well, you can use it elsewhere. Rafe Rhymes told us that story in a press conference one time. Like, they were the best 2 hitters on the team, and they were like, we're not going to be on scholarship. Go use that 11.7. It's not very much. Go use it on other players. This is pre-NIL, obviously. I love that, trying to win. We feel like everything's me. And, that's the rules, so go do your thing. But I like when people go with we, and I think Arch Manning is doing a good thing there. So good on you, Arch.
Shout out Arch, man. New Orleans' very own. So
Uptown Zone.
Uptown Zone. I know he went to Newman, whatever.
He's from Uptown. The Mannings
we'll
let him
slide.
Uptown.
We'll let him slide this one time. Okay, let's talk about this last New Orleans team before we get about it. New Orleans Pelicans complete the biggest comeback in franchise history last night versus the Houston Rockets as the Pelicans come back down from 25 to go to OT and win the game. Now the Pelicans have their first win streak all season.
Wow.
3-game win streak. They're only 5 games out of the play-in. Will the Pelicans make the push?
Oh, my God. You did not just say that.
Yes, I did. I'm saying it.
We finished the show this week with you saying the Pels are 5 out of the play-in.
The play-in, the 10th seed. We're almost there.
Oh, my heavens. We have got to get to the weekend. Got to get to the weekend.
They're there.
Does my guy Tari Eason still play for the Rockets?
Yes, he does. He does.
He should have done something about that comeback. The Pelicans.
I'll take it.
We're not taking it. We're leaving it. The Pels.
Leave it alone.
My buddy said if the Pels make the playoffs, he's buying everybody steak dinners. I don't think it's going to happen.
Tell him hit me up.
You can go in my place. That's it for this week. Our Friday shows are brought to you by Corks. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand. It's a travel weekend. If you're traveling, be very, very safe. We're back on Monday. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further View. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. The next edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. I've got to get through 40 more seconds of this read without sneezing, and we'll see if it happens or if it doesn't. But you got to know about Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, now under new ownership. You know the Fabry name. They've been in business more than 3 decades in the Baton Rouge area. You can trust them. Their customer service is second to none, and this is a huge inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles up there in St. Francisville. They got Tahoes, Silverados on the Chevy side. They got your Sierras, Yukons, Denali's. If you're looking at the end of this year, first quarter of next year at getting a new or a pre-owned vehicle, make the short drive to St. Francisville and see them at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you'd like to see what they've got on the lot, it's all there on FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. If you need some service done to your vehicle before that Christmas road trip, they can service all makes in their service department in St. Francisville. You know the Fabry name. They're up in St. Francisville now on Highway 61. It's FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank